Good evening, everybody. Good evening in Kenya, in Italy, in the Netherlands, and wherever you'll be watching this match. My name is Aurélien Lorange. I'm co-director with Miss Urbanova of the Quarks Foundation. We organize the Hague Inter-University Law Debate Tournament. This year, we have new teams representing universities competing in this group phase. This is the first match of the group phase. And today we'll hear the debate between the teams who prepared the topic they received 7 days ago. So before talking about the topic itself and get into the debate, we'll ask every student, one by one, to introduce themselves simply before they will be debating. So I will start with Mr. Muchesia in Strathmore University, Nairobi, in Kenya. Could you introduce yourself?
Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Shamia Muchesia from the Strathmore University, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you and welcome. We have as well in Bologna, Salah Eddin Shkari.
Good evening, everybody. I go by the name of Salah, and salute to the honorable judges, the organizers of the debate, the opposing team, as well as fellow viewers. I'm a student at the University of Bologna at the Legal Studies course, and it's an LLM course, and I'm a first-year student, and I'm curious to see how this one turns out. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you very much and welcome. We have as well in Strathmore University Mr. Jeff Melita. Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Hello, everybody, from wherever you're watching us from. My name is Jeff Melita. Echo the sentiments of the former speaker. I'd like to thank the organizing team, also the opposition. I'm very keen on seeing how this would go. Thank you very much.
Thank you and welcome. We have as well in Bologna Miss Elisaveta Vorobei.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable judges, my dear colleagues. It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Elisaveta Vorobei. I'm originating from the Republic of Belarus, but currently doing my master's degree here in Italian University of Bologna, and I wish everyone a good luck today.
Thank you very much and welcome. We have as well in Strathmore University Miss Ridi Kerai. Welcome.
Right, and I am in the first year student of diploma, and I hope this goes well for everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We have as well as a third member of the team of Bologna, Mr. Chenda Wu. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Chanda. I'm sorry for the delay in the beginning. I'm from China and I'm studying in Italy, the University of Bologna. I'm doing a master degree of legal studies, and good luck to everyone.
Thank you and welcome. I want to mention as well that in the room there are as well two coaches, the coach from the Italian team, Miss Emma Berto and Mr. Luis Felipe Alvarez Vega, former participants, so you can as well say a few words. Yes, Miss Berto.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm from a participant from last year edition, coach for this year, also doing my master degree in legal studies in Bologna. And I'm very excited to hear today's debate, meet the team from Kenya, and good luck to everyone.
Thank you very much. Mr. Alvarez Vega.
Hello, everyone. It's really good to see you. I'm same as Emma. I am a second-year student in the Legal Studies Master in the University of Bologna. Very happy to be a co-coach with Ms. Berto. And I wish everyone great luck in this match today, and I hope that we all learn a lot about the topic that we'll be discussing.
Thank you very much, and welcome again. Now, the topic. Before my colleague will indeed, you will see the randomizer now. The topic you got to prepare was national government should play a more direct role in regulating and overseeing international sports. This is the topic you have been preparing for 7 days. And now my colleague will click. As you can see, there are two positions in favor, against for each team. So the position will be against the statement for the University of Bologna. So it means, as a consequence, Strathmore University will be starting the match because this is a position in favor, and the University of Bologna will be then doing the introduction in second place after the introduction of Strathmore University. Concretely, it means Strathmore University will be defending the position that national government should play a more direct role in regulating and overseeing international sports. And we do the introduction. And first, and the University of Bologna will defend the position that national government should not play a more direct role in regulating and overseeing international sports. So now you will have the 5 minutes that you see on the screen to review your notes, and we'll hear the introduction from Strathmore University.
Thank you very much. The time for final preparation has now passed. We'll be starting the debate, starting with the position in favor. The debate team of Strathmore University, you have 4 minutes.
All right, thank you, and I hope I am still audible. So my name, as Aya mentioned, is Shania Chesia, and greetings to the judges, the opponents, and the esteemed audience from all over the world. I'm going to structure my speech in 3 ways. Firstly, on what the current model of international regulation of sports looks like in a school. Secondly, what model do we then advocate for in terms of including national regulation, national government regulation. And finally, I'm going to signpost the arguments that we are going to make. So, beginning with the current model of international regulation of sports and how it looks like currently. There's 3 things which come with this. Firstly, for each sport, we think that there exists an independent and international body that proclaims itself as the sole and worldwide governing body. For example, if you look at the basketball and sporting activities, there's the International Basketball Federation. If you look at football, there's the Federation International of Football, which is best known as FIFA. If you go to cricket, there is International Cricket Council. And if you go to Olympics, there's the International Olympic Committee. But secondly, and this is equally crucial, is that these bodies necessarily need significant autonomy over either the rules governing the lives of those participants and how those sports are to be played, but secondly, the procedures within those sports and how things are to be done in regards to probably arbitration and how matters of accountability are to be dealt with as a result. The final thing here in terms of layering of how status quo looks like is that there is very, very little national government intervention which occurs directly, and this most of the times occurs as a result of the self-proclaimed principle of autonomy. For example, FIFA, through its statutes, explicitly has a non-interventionist policy under Article 13, 14, and supplemented by Article 17 of the FIFA statutes. This is what we argue from the side proposition that has been the bedrock of a lack of accountability within the regulation of international sports. But beyond that, what do we then advocate for instead as the change in our side of the house? 2 things here. Firstly, that national governments should be more involved in the regulation of these sports. This is to say things like making the rules, the procedures, and having representation within these institutions, as well as implementation at grassroots level to occur from the national government intervention. But secondly, we advocate for national governments to intervene through their courts and their parliamentary systems to allow for the acting as accountability mechanisms for these international sporting organizations in and of themselves. So this would look like not only are these international organizations able to make rules, but national governments can directly come in to either supplement those rules or question these rules when they are perhaps not things which are accountable in and of themselves. In that regard, we are going to make 2 major arguments from side proposition in today's debate. Firstly, on how this in itself and the principle of non-intervention and too much autonomy given to international bodies as a means of regulation leads to less accountability. And secondly, why this in itself, changing to national government involvement would lead to better implementation at the grassroots level and fair play for the sports in general and that sort of thing. Just to tackle accountability quite fast before my opponents get an opportunity, I think with regards to Article 13, 14, and 17 of the statutes, the principle of non-intervention helps most of these bodies to have the right to respond aggressively upon interference from national governments and that sort of thing. With regards to this as well, Article 62 of the FIFA statute necessarily say that courts have to refrain from intervening in these matters, which means that it is often at times little mechanisms of accountability to ensure that there is very much accountability within the international sporting arena. I give the floor back to the host. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your submission. Now starting with the position against, for the opening statement, the debating of Bologna University, you have 4 minutes.
Dear colleagues from Strathmore University and honorable judges, on behalf of the University of Bologna, our team firmly opposes the notion that national governments should play a more direct role in regulating and overseeing international sports. Instead, we advocate for the preservation of the independence of international sports from political interference. Firstly, international sports organizations such as the International Olympic Committee and FIFA operate under their own governing structures and regulations. Granting governments greater influence could jeopardize the autonomy and integrity of these organizations, potentially leading to undue political interference and manipulation of sporting events. Increased government intervention also risks introducing bureaucratic hurdles, regulatory complexities, and legal entanglement that impede the efficient operation of sports organizations and events. Secondly, maintaining the separation of international sports from political influence helps prevent the exploitation of sporting events for political gain or propaganda purposes. Political meddling in sports has historically resulted in boycotts, sanctions, and diplomatic disputes, detracting from the essence of sportsmanship and unity among nations. For instance, the Cold War era Olympic Games boycotts of the United States and the USSR significantly tarnished the credibility and inclusivity of games. Thirdly, from the perspective of international law, many international sports organizations operate under the framework of international agreements and charters that recognize their independence from government control. Governments are often bound to respect the autonomy of international sports organizations. For example, the Olympic Charter states that recognizing that sport occurs within the framework of society, sports organizations within the Olympic movement shall apply political neutrality. They have the rights and obligations of autonomy, which include freely establishing and controlling the rules of sport, determining the structure and the governance of their organizations, enjoying the right of elections free from any outside influence, and the responsibility for ensuring that principles of good governance be applied. In conclusion, our stance is clear. International sports must remain free from political interference. Rather than direct intervention, we advocate for a more collaborative approach wherein national governments engage with international sports organizations in a supportive capacity. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your submission. We now proceed to rebuttals, starting with the Strathmore University's debate team. You have 2 minutes.
All right. Once again, good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you're listening to us from. My name is Jeff Melita from Strathmore University. Thank you to the opponents and to the judges. Privileged to debate here today. All right. I think the major premise that comes from the opposition side rather, is that they're going to enhance that some level of autonomy and integrity in the sporting arena simply by prevention of politicization and interference by these national governments. First and foremost, 2 responses to this. I think firstly, this is curable in our world simply by allowing or creating platforms for establishing clear guidelines and general boundaries that are existing within these national governments that clearly delineate these roles between these 2 elements, allowing them to operate seamlessly between them. And even secondly, forcing these national governments to actually engage in some adherence to some national standards that would generally prevent this level of politicization and politicization and political interference. But even if you reject this premise, judges, notice then that the aim of this autonomy and this integrity by these international sporting sectors is generally to ensure fairness and to enhance integrity within the sporting sector. tell you that by actively enforcing these corruption measures or anti-corruption measures and this level of enhancement of fair play, done best from a national government by allowing them to have more direct control and direct involvement, we therefore can have governments actively preventing bribery, actively preventing match fixing, and other forms of corruption generally that undermine the credibility of these competitions that these states and all of these other international entities seek to protect. Our world also therefore uniquely then protects the integrity and athletes, rather protecting the integrity of athletes' rights simply by allowing the achievement of creating a platform for achievement, of effective achievement rather of this protection of these rights by these states, simply by allowing these states to actively engage in direct regulation and oversight processes, therefore having the capacity to enforce these provisions, thereby protecting these athletes from that level of exploitation, that level of discrimination, and that type of abuse that that the opposition side seeks to prevent them from. Net, our world is better for these individuals, where we provide safer haven and more protective.
Thank you for your submission. Continuing with the position against debate team of University of Bologna, you have 2 minutes.
Now, we very much want to stress the clarity with which today's debate prompt is worded. It calls us to think about whether governments must play a more direct role. This direct role is therefore not discussed in light of whether it should be instituted or not, but of whether it should be increased, for its institution is fulfilled already as a premise to the prompt. Now, we do not believe that government should play a more direct role. Their role is direct enough. The formality of this thought is frozen by a Dutch parliamentary motion calling upon the University of Amsterdam to postulate whether national sports legislation was necessary in the nation. Ultimately, the University of Amsterdam said no. Furthermore, the binding assurances on sport are complex enough and do not need governmental crutches. I'm talking about Lex Sportiva, which is case law of the Court of Arbitration for Sport, possessing a penumbra of stare decisis, and Global Sports Law, which is a transnational autonomous legal order created by the global private institutions that govern international sports in contractual fashion and include bodies of rules as are the Olympic Charter and the statuses of International Sports Federation. Now, to reiterate, what government is doing to regulate and oversee international sports is indicative of a direct role already. The European Court of Justice, in fact, qualified in its Warrave and Koch cases that international sports as economic activities ultimately bind all governments to regulate them under community law, which they are. Then, in the Mecca Medina case, it found that there is no such thing as purely sporting rules, and therefore that their implementation does not immunize one from being bound by governmental management through EU competition laws. To address some of the statements made in the introductory remarks by the opposing teams, which is that certain sporting associations must be held accountable, let me remind you of the fact that FIFA was subject in 2015 to an FBI scrutiny that led to revelations about racketeering and money laundering for which they were held liable. And therefore, the question that I pose at this very end is, how more direct can it get than this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the second rebuttal, University of Strathmore's debate team, you have 2 minutes.
All right, thank you. I would like to again just begin this debate by noting the words of the former opposition speaker, that the FBI scrutiny is exactly what unveiled the number of corruption scandals which were occurring in the international sporting arena. This meant that there had to be a direct involvement by a national government somewhere in the form of the United States of America to intervene in order to uncover the scandals which had been ongoing. What we need to recognize today, dear judges and audience, is that the distance between the international sporting organization as well as the countries has meant that this has been an excuse for corruption. For example, all the corrupt scandals that we've had as a result of the international football body, the FIFA Federation, to individuals who have always been implicated, but nothing has ever been served in terms of justice. What we then say is that this is worse because nations cannot intervene because of the fear of getting suspended under the FIFA statute. But beyond this, even the court of arbitration, of sports arbitration, as mentioned by previous speaker, is always one which acts as a court of finality. which then means that other courts cannot scrutinize the decision made by these courts to be able to verify whether this indeed was the final outcome in terms of delivering justice. What we then ask you to see is that there's a very huge outcry of a lack of accountability which exists within the international sporting regulation. We then ask you to see that the next most proximate thing is allow for the intervention of state. And my partner has already proven that this is something which can work. Look at how the United Nations probably functions. It's able to regulate on probably the international geopolitical arena while still being able to incorporate nations without having all those problems which are created from side opposition. What we then ask you to see is that devoid of the accountability in the international sporting arena, we ask you that the only way to improve this is through national regulation, and we have never been prouder to defend this position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For the second rebuttal, University of Bologna's debate team, you have 2 minutes.
Government should not play a more direct role. Let me stress again that it may lead to malicious manipulation of anti-doping regulation, as paradoxical as it may seem. And we do not have the space to reject this in principle if we must accept it as a fact. One telling example is the Republic of Kenya's itself Anti-Doping Act, which covers aspects from the establishment of the anti-doping agency to its administration and enforcement, all the way to dispute resolution, and establishes in its section 27 that athletes shall ensure that no prohibited substance has entered their body. Now, despite its exhaustiveness, it still has given remnant space to first permit and then leave unpunished doping consumption for sporting purposes, which would not have been the case with the World Anti-Doping Agency, given its, conversely, private nature and lack of interest in promoting athletes to international competitions. Now, the exact examples in this respect are Titu Sekiro, who held the record for the 6th fastest marathon to only lose it after being caught using prohibited substances, and Asbel Kiprop, former Olympic champions to the 1500 meters race, who was then barred from competition. Now, a simmered down governmental role would also foster the independence of sporting organizations, which is not impenetrable as the opposing team is making it seem. The European Council, in fact, stresses that the support for the independence of sports organizations and the right to organize themselves through appropriate associative structures. And with regard to respecting the autonomy of the sports associations, the Paralympics case of the Administrative Law Division of the Council of State illustrated that it must be impossible, or better, that it is impossible to separate sports from politics, and therefore we must not ruminate over that, but that governments are bound to respect the sports associations' own responsibility and live up to it, as opposed to detach from a state of affairs that is actually unchangeable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now proceeding to conclusions, starting with the Strathmore University's debate team. You have 2 minutes.
All right. It's integral that we must understand, right, that we are interested in providing more direct role that is integral for these national governments to have that implementation capacity. Notice, judges, that these lofty legal provisions are already present. UNCAC in Article 8 already provides a framework for combating corruption. But as the speaker already just mentioned, right, a lot of these states therefore still do not have these proper enforcement mechanisms that adhere within their states. Even then, we tell you that enhancement of accountability then is the most important and integral thing that is present to protect the credibility of this sporting arena. I think the first speaker from our side already mentioned how we are able to protect the fairness and integrity in and of themselves by enforcing actively these anti-corruption measures and anti-doping measures, uniquely done simply by these kinds of national governments and these kinds of national states because of their proximity capacity. Even then, we tell you that it is possible to prevent this politicization that opposition side wants to push for simply through regulation, establishment of clear guidelines, and adherence to these international standards. Even that FIFA statute that they speak about still is something that isn't immune, right, from these kind of corruption issues, and in fact necessitated that kind of intervention from a national government to actually uncover the corruption scandals that are embedded within them. We tell you that the international spectrum is accessible of corruption and challenging the integrity and autonomy of this sector. While ensures safety, award ensures protection of these kinds of these athletes in and of themselves. Award overall ensures and enhances fairness and integrity across board. We pick nothing from our side. Notice then that our award actually uniquely prevents the discrimination, exploitation, and all of these kinds of forms of abuse for these athletes uniquely. But even then, and most importantly, we're able to protect the athletes and the sporting arena and the sporting sector as a whole by ensuring the protection of safety, ensuring enhancement of fairness and integrity for these people. We've never been prouder to be able to profile this position.
Thank you very much. For the conclusion, in the against position, the University of Bologna's debate team, you have 2 minutes.
In conclusion, our stance remains steadfast. National governments should refrain from assuming a more direct role in regulating and overseeing international sports. The existing level of government involvement is already sufficient. By increasing it, we risk undermining the autonomy and integrity of international sport organizations, as highlighted by the European nature of sports and the application of European Union's competition laws. Moreover, by maintaining their separation of international sports from political influence, it is essential to prevent exploitation and uphold the principles of sportsmanship and unity among nations. Furthermore, a more restrained governmental role fostered the independence of sports organizations, as it was emphasized by the European Council's support for sports autonomy. By respecting this autonomy of sport associations, governments can ensure that sport organizations retain the freedom to govern themselves and uphold their own responsibilities. Additionally, a more direct regulative role of the government may lead to particular malicious manipulations of anti-doping regulations, as it's seen in the Republic of Kenya's Anti-Doping Act. Despite its comprehensive provisions, there have been instances of doping consumptions for sporting purposes going unpunished, which would not have been the case with the World Anti-Doping. National governments should embrace a collaborative approach, which engaged with international sports organizations in a supportive capacity rather than seeking or to exert direct control. This approach respects the autonomy of sports organizations while allowing at the same time government to address legitimate concerns within the framework of existing sport law. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, my colleague will take over for the next part, but you all can relax. It is now the end of your part of the match on which you are graded. Feel free to turn your cameras on. In case anyone experiences issues with internet, we'll, of course, ask others to close their cameras in video feeds. But for now, please feel free to relax. And time for a little feedback session.
Yes, indeed. First of all, congratulations. It was a very, very good debate. I was listening, I had my camera off, but I was listening everything very well. You prepared very well. Of course, the judge will be taking the time, the 2 business days, which means until Tuesday, to review, Tuesday evening, to review this match. So many thanks. Now we'll ask for your opinion about the match, about as well your experience debating for the first time in this format as well, how were you prepared, and if you were surprised by the arguments of the other team, or if you actually went through them as well when you were preparing. Mr. Muchesia, what do you think about this match? How did you prepare? Did you see some, I would say, elements in your preparation that was said by the opposing team as well?
I hope I'm still audible. I think my camera has a slight issue. However, I think the level of preparation we tried to go through with my team was quite intense, especially because we hadn't gotten a grip of international law and international sports initially. So it's a really, really interesting challenge. And as I said earlier, we are really happy to be here, and we're really happy to have faced the University of Bologna.
Thank you. I have to say, it's the very first time your university participates, so again, good start for the history of your university. You are pioneers, actually. Mr. Salah Eddin in Bologna, what did you think about the match, the argumentation as well? And yes, did you already got that in your studies?
I think the opposing team did great, honestly. Props to their job, to be honest. And about the topic, I've never ever dealt with sports law, so it was the first time for me too. And it was nice to get to know the discipline and then try to get to the formulation of argumentation. So it was a double-faced process, all in all, and enjoyed it overall.
Thank you very much. Mr. Melita, Jeff Melita, what do you think about this first experience, debating, the argumentation, the performance of your team?
Yeah, so first and foremost, thank you so much for the opportunity to participate. I mean, like any new thing, it's interesting to start off. I think, like Shamia mentioned, it was a bit of a challenge to first and foremost find research on sports law. I don't think that's something we've covered or have covered thus far. So it was interesting to just get a new opinion or like a new opportunity to study a totally new field of law. We did sufficient preparation. We tried our best to prepare ourselves for this. It was amazing debating against the opposing side. They're really, really good, and you could see that they're able to, they know their stuff, and it was really, really good to have that experience. For the format, like I think Shamia mentioned, it's the first time we've done this specific format. So again, it was an opportunity to try out new things. Complicated and daunting at first, but yeah, we are happy that we are here.
Thank you very much. So now back in Bologna, Miss Vurbey, what did you think about this match?
First of all, I wanted to congratulate you, our honorable judges, for this opportunity. And obviously, our opposing team, their argumentation was just excellent. It was really interesting to hear their perspective and their approach to the topic, because it was in particular a little bit different from ours. So it's extremely intriguing to hear. But I also wanted to thank my colleagues, Salah and Chanda, because I'm really proud of how they did. It was excellent, and I really enjoy being in your team.
Thank you very much. We have as well Miss Ridi Kerai. What did you think, Miss Kerai, about this match?
The match was really good, and I think the opposition side was really much like they knew what they were doing. And as my colleague said, that we haven't really ever had on this format, so I'll say that we are getting good on it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, it's a good start, I have to say. Many thanks. Mr. Wu, Chanda Wu, what do you think about the match?
Good evening, everyone. I want to apologize again for the technical issue in the beginning. I'm really sorry for taking up your time so much. And I want to say the team of Strathmore, you guys did a very good job. And I really like your argumentations about fair play, anti-doping, etc. And also because we also prepared the pro side, so we also did some research in similar topics. So but you guys also cast some new points which are very inspiring to me and to us. And I also want to thank the organizers. This tournament is not only about winning or lose or something. It's more about the experience. It's really difficult to have this kind of opportunity to communicate with people, with students all around the world. And thank you. It's a really wonderful experience. It's a wonderful night. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. It's a way to network, of course, because I'm pretty sure that you will like to connect even after the match, to keep contact. I mean, having a Kenyan lawyer in your network, an Italian lawyer, that is something useful in long term, because you never know what can happen in your career. So, coach, now, Miss Berto, what did you think about the match?
I also really liked it. I feel very proud of what our team did, and they really responded well to the well-constructed and very convincing argumentation of the opposing team. So that was very nice to see that. And just to get back to your point about networking, yes, it's also the great thing about this debate to hear what the other think about the topic, and also get to know them and exchange. And yeah, actually with Felipe, we connected, met another opponent last year, and he ended up being a friend and helping one of our classmates to do her internship. So yeah, there's only nice thing to say about this debate.
Ah, well, you see. So, yes, what could you say, indeed, Mr. Alvarez Vega, about all this time?
Yeah, no, great. I wanted to tell everyone both great job. Both teams did amazing, especially with all the technical difficulties. I know it's very stressful for you, like to be dealing with the technical difficulties when you're trying to like also be compelling and express yourself. So I think both teams did great regardless. The topic was very interesting. It's not something that I am personally like well versed into, but I did think that it was a very interesting spin on the topic, and the arguments were very creative as well. And yes, as Emma mentioned, this tournament is a great experience to meet other legal professionals and to learn a lot about verbal expression and just like skills that will help you as a lawyer in your career, and to meet great people like Emma mentioned.
Thank you very much. So now, before we finish, a bit of networking, even more cultural aspect of it even. Mr. Muccesia, if you would invite the students from Italy, what is the first thing you would make them visiting or tasting in Nairobi?
It's quite interesting. I don't know if I'm still audible, but now I have.
Yes, speak close to the microphone.
So I would definitely invite all of you to have a special meal as chapati, ugali, and dengu. So you're welcome all. It's a really nice type of food around this side. So everywhere, and I mean, I guess you guys will definitely learn. Also, we have really nice hiking areas. So the mountains here, it doesn't snow so much here. So just getting to experience the cool breeze around like a mountain, something of the sort, is quite interesting. Also, the weather is quite friendly. There's so much of I think the sun around this area, and I think it will be really nice. And the wildlife as well, it's really, really amazing. So you guys should definitely go around this area. All of you are welcome. And
thank you very much. So that's a good first invitation. Mr. Salahuddin, what do you think about the food in Bologna? Is it something that you could maybe propose to our friends in Kenya to taste in case they come to Bologna?
I would definitely propose it. I would even cook it for them.
Oh, so what would you cook?
What would I cook? I would go with the trump card. I would cook lasagna, and then win them all.
Okay, very good, very good.
Like there's plenty of pasta. That's what Bologna's cuisine is mainly centered around. So we would have a pasta chore if we had to eat anything Bolognese.
So Bolognese sauce as well with the pasta probably, yeah. So now on the side of Kenya, Mr. Melita, what do you think? Yes, the team from Italy should experience in terms of festivities, in case you have cultural events as well.
Wow, festivities. Really nice question. Yeah, I think there's a lot to offer. A lot of Kenyans are known for like parties and that kind of thing. There's a lot of hype and festivals and stuff like that that comes around. People, Friday nights, are a thing. So but now here we make it a whole weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, people are outside, enjoying life and being young. So definitely there's stuff that you can find here, actually depends on people's taste. There's something for everyone. I think that's what I can say. That's a really good feature about here with regards to like the festivals and just the party vibe. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Okay, many thanks. Finally, Miss Vorobey and Mr. Wu, could you tell maybe something to know about the University of Bologna particularly? Something to know about your university?
Well, I would say that basically University of Bologna is one of the oldest currently functioning universities in the world. And it was initially opened as basically a law school. So where not to study law as an University of Bologna. It's a great opportunity to be here and I really recommend it.
Thank you. Mr. Wu, your impression as well.
Yeah, the University of Bologna is very special in the history of civil law. It's deemed as a revival place of the Roman law tradition. We have the Bologna school in the history around 11th century, and that's why I came here. I'm not Italian or European. I came from Asia. I came here because my country is also a civil law country, so I want to come to the origin of civil law to learn the legal reasoning of the Roman jurists, and of course, the Italian life is also very interesting. It's one of the reasons I came here. I like the Italian cuisine, for example, the lasagna, Bologna's cuisine, and so if you guys, my friend from Kenya, if you want to come to Italy, you guys are welcome. I will. I can't cook Italian cuisine for you, but I will show you to the best Italian restaurant I know. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm getting hungry now. It's to be time, of course, to have dinner as well. Miss Kerai. What could you tell about your university? What is something particularly, I would say, known, maybe, from Strathmore University in Nairobi? Because I guess there are several universities. So what make particularly Strathmore University attractive, for example? Why did you choose to study in that university?
University, Strathmore University in the Nairobi County is it's really good in its reputation, which made me choose the university. It's my first year, but when I actually it my first day in school, it was I was actually shocked by how pretty it looked, like the greenery, the amount of trees, the sparrows just having really singing and everything was really nice. The buildings and everything, and I really love it there.
Okay, that's nice to know. I have to say that indeed I've found on internet a lot of very interesting facts about your university. So I'm really happy by the reputation as well in Kenya about this university that we have a first team, you and your colleagues, to participate to the debate and as well to connect with Bologna, a very, very old European university as well. So I would like to thank all of you for this first match, official match of the competition. My colleague as well, Mr. Bonova, many thanks as well. You will receive the results, as I said, probably on Wednesday, because they need 2 days, the judge to review the match. But yes, it is the first match. In 2 weeks, you will have your second match of the group phase. And wish you all the best for this weekend, of course. 7 days before the next match, you will receive another topic on a different theme. Okay, it will not be sports law. So it will be a different one. But in meanwhile, you will get indeed to know the result of this match and possibly as well some feedback from the judge for this first match. Again, well done. It's only the first step of the journey, and then you will meet other universities in 2 weeks again. Okay? Many thanks. Many thanks in Kenya. Many thanks in Bologna. See you next time.
Well done, everyone.
Well done. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Take care, everyone.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.